my screen. Okay. People are still coming in, but I hope that they will join shortly so that we don't lose more time and that we just start with our session. So once again, welcome at the info session for potential applicants. My name is Andrea Kuttner and I am a representative of InnoRenew Research Institute that is actually leading the Open Call 2 in the frame of the Pharaon Project. With us, there are also other, today even, our colleagues that are very important stakeholders in the whole Open Call, and including our coordinator, Filippo Cavallo, who is coordinating the whole project of Pharaon. And if I start with the kind of like the housekeeping rules, I would like to ask you to be using the chat to pose the questions as they occur to you, and we will monitor it and so somehow make it easier to make sure that we answer all the questions. At the same time, of course, you will be also invited to provide the questions with raising the hand in the system. And as I already informed you, the webinar is being recorded for the purpose of publishing it also for other applicants. So the whole info session today is in 3 parts. First will be just welcome that we actually already started. Then we will give you basic information about the call. And then the third part will be dedicated to the questions and answers. We foreseen 1 hour for this session, and if there will be a minute more needed, we of course will be open to extend it. So our Pharaon project is project finance in the frame of the Horizon 2020. And it's coordinated by the University of Florence, by Filippo, which I already emphasized, and is quite huge in terms of the budget, with very big ambition to be, I would say, changing the world to a better place for our older adults, and is financed in the frame of the call, which is addressing the societal challenges. And the focus area is the digitalizing and transforming European industry and services. In the project, there is many project partners, and here on the map you can already see how much we are actually covering. And it's 9 research centers, 18 industrial partners, then 8 users representatives, 4 public bodies and 2 standardization bodies. We are coming from all different countries, everyone being very active. And as said, we are trying to provide solutions that will be enabling our older adults in the society an easier living, as well as, of course, very important, the well-being. The specific Pharaon project is developing the platforms that are based on the existing technologies. So we are quite high in the TRL level, and we have the goal to simplify the integration of new as well as the existing solutions. And we are doing this in 5 countries, in 5 pilots. And each of the pilot was, or I'm talking about was, because many things were already done. They went through the pre-validation, validation, and the pilot testing. And as Pharaon really is focusing on the impact, we are trying to test as many solutions as possible. So there was in each pilot, we were developing the use cases and working with older adults and their professional as well as informal caregivers. And some pilots were kind of similar, but others have like really unique cases. And there, of course, as said, we want to be broad and we really want to be including existing technologies that are out there and test them how they can be integrated into the Pharaon platforms. And therefore, already when the proposal was being prepared, it was foreseen that we will have this cascade grants offered to the society, if I use the word as broad as possible. And so then this leads us to our open call basics and information. It's as emphasized the ambition that we kind of extend our portfolio of technologies, and therefore we have the open call that is supposed to kind of present evolution of our Pharaon ecosystem and pursue all key specific objectives that the Pharaon has, and this to be done through 3 specific actions. First is to expand the capabilities of a Pharaon ecosystem by bringing new digital solutions and technologies. Second, extending the reach of Pharaon beyond the boundaries of the current pilots by implementing the new pilots. And I would like to emphasize here that these 2 specific actions are mandatory for all of the proposals that will be submitted to our open call 2. And there is a specific action 3, which is to demonstrate that the Pharaon interoperability tools provide a robust and easy to use framework that will facilitate Pharaon ecosystem evolution. And of course, due to this also provide sustainability to the solutions developed within the Pharaon. This specific action is optional, but is highly prioritized, and the ambition is that 3 to 5 projects will be financed that are having this third specific action also addressed. Besides the specific actions, we are going, like first I should be, of course, to emphasize these options for the specific action 3. So the selected Pharaon technologies that you plan to be interoperating should be, of course, able to do the interoperability with the existing platforms. And you should select the Pharaon hub facilities that you plan to use for the integration. And CI and CD and software testing techniques you plan to use should be, of course, also presented. And what user types you are planning to be integrating. And then also what user evolution metrics you plan to measure in your user evaluation. And then, of course, any additional interoperability related technical KPIs that you believe are relevant to be measured and to be, of course, demonstrating the impacts. With that, I am leading us towards the specific challenges. I would like to ask if someone is not muted, if can mute themselves. Okay, perfect. So beside these specific actions that were just presented, we also have in the frame of Pharaon specific challenges that we want to address. And they are also, of course, clearly communicated and presented in the open call, but just if I list all of them shortly. So the first one is the behavior and the approach of elderly to friendly technology devices. Second, health status definition and its progress over time. The third one is non-intrusive monitoring and alarming triggering. The fourth one, promote social cohesion. The fifth one defines specific personalized care plans based on users' needs. And here I would again emphasize the 3 or even more proposals addressing this specific challenge will be prioritized or will be funded. In the best case scenario, of course, this one would also have the specific action 3 that was earlier emphasized, including. Then the challenge 6 is reduce isolation and loneliness of enhancing the autonomy through connectivity and digital tools. 7th, promote accessibility and the provisions of proximity services using the IT platforms. The 8th one, promote capacity building and awareness on green economy, citizenship and the cultural traditions. The 9th one, indoor environmental quality. And the 10th one, support to the caregivers towards more efficient and personalized care services. Of course, your proposals can also address many of the pilot challenges, or of course, probably impossible to address all 10 of them, but still it's not only one, it can be multiple ones that you are addressing. What we aim that each of the proposal is clearly demonstrating is that you create a pilot and a real deployment with the relevant stakeholders based, of course, on the challenges and the specific actions that were presented. That there is a clear work plan that is not longer than 10 months for implementing your projects, that you define specifically who are the target groups of stakeholders. You need to, of course, consider the ethical and data management issues. And in case that your project is involving the stakeholders to the extent that the ethical approvals by local authorities are needed, you need to plan for it, and by month 3 of the proposal also deliver this ethical approval. And last, you should identify and measure specific KPIs that with which we will be demonstrating the impact of the presented and deployed solutions. Here, of course, when the proposal is being written, you should be forecasting and promising the numbers, so be as possible kind of like providing the objective measures of the KPIs. And of course, when the project is being implemented, you should be targeting these numbers. And with that, we will, of course, also be also assuring that something is feasible. At the same time, we can also be seeing the scale of the impact that the Open Call 2 is being achieving through the implementation of the projects that will be selected for funding. How to apply? So there is foreseen that there are small consortia of up to 3 partners, and it can be companies, there can be industrial organizations, then it can be also there's some user representative organizations, universities, research institutes, and any other eligible organizations. Also, the web entrepreneurs and individuals can be participating in the consortia. Here, I would emphasize that administratively, there is a requirement of having validated participant identification code, or PIDS number, and so each of the partner that is participating in the project needs to have the validated PIC number. Call was opened end of July, and the deadline is 30th of September, so about a month from now. Again, I emphasize the duration of the projects is up to 10 months. So you can also, of course, request a shorter implementation, but a longer one is not accepted. The budget that is available is up to 2.5 million euros. And of course, you can be requesting up to 200,000. It can be also a project proposal that is requesting less. We have the external reviewers that will be reviewing the processes. And of course, it's important that it's also demonstrating why a certain budget is needed for implementation of your project. If I go through the timeline, so the 30th of September is a month from now, but then it's going to go very, very fast. So we will have the reviews implemented in the first 2 weeks of October. And already on the 16th of October, you will be receiving the information if you were successful, and you will be invited to sign the grant agreement, which we aim that all of them are signed by the end of the month, more specifically until the 27th of October. And the successful projects will be starting on the 1st of November. 23. So the whole evaluation process, if we present it a bit graphically, so we have these submissions, and first will be eligibility check performed. And in case that the eligibility, administrative eligibility will not be met, you will be receiving the rejection letter. If everything administratively is correct, it goes through the evaluation. And of course, here can be also achieved that you get a rejection letter, but if there is, then of course we go through the procedures and the selected proposals. And when we will be, of course, checking also the budget allocations, how much each of the proposal was, the ones that were selected were requesting. We will select then the ones that will be invited to sign the grant agreement. Award criteria, we have the impact, then innovation and technology, so the excellence, as well as the third one, quality and efficiency of the implementation. And the minimum threshold to be eligible is 10. And the ones that will fall below the overall and the individual thresholds will be rejected. And as said, this will be external experts that will be reviewing the proposals. Maybe to also, it's so important that the threshold is actually met in all the 3 criteria. The beneficiaries that are non-for-profit legal entities can have up to 100% of eligible costs financed, while beneficiaries that are profit legal entities have 70% of the co-financing. And this is something you need to also be clearly indicating also in your budget forecasts. And of course, we will be reviewing it and assuring that these 2 criteria provided by the Horizon rules will be followed. What is eligible cost is direct costs, so the personnel, then direct cost of subcontracting, which I need to emphasize, you need to justify why the subcontracting is needed, then other direct costs. And we are also having the indirect costs eligible that are being calculated as a 20% flat rate. And which means that for this 25% of indirect costs, you do not need to provide any accounting documentation, but only for direct costs. So for personnel, or other direct costs, and direct costs of subcontracting. Here I would be directing you also to go and check the Horizon rules, because we are implementing completely the Horizon rules, which we're obliged to do. So the projects that will be successful will be also going through the monitoring processes, which is structured in 3 steps. And so reports have to be submitted with the deadlines that are defined. There will be 3 different reporting periods. And you will have to submit the documents that will demonstrate the work that was performed, and at the same time also that the budget was actually correctly allocated. Then the reviewing, and this is a reviewing team of Pharaon will be checking the work that was done in financial, technical, and in equipment terms. And the finalization is that the reviewing team assess the work that was performed and decides if the applicant has the satisfied or provided everything that was actually promised in the grant agreement. And if there is the report and the reviewers agree that everything is performed according to the grant agreement, then you can proceed with working on the project. Of course, it's the intention that we are closely collaborating, and also that we are monitoring, and that any actions potentially that needs to be taken in order to be achieving the promised objectives of a project can be also achieved. To emphasize again, so there will be 3 reporting and monitoring documents, and that will at the end cover the entire project duration. And there will be 2 intermediate progress report, one at month 4 and the other one at month 8. And then the third one is the final report. We have been providing already in the call a template that is part as an Annex 3 that you will have to be providing to us. And so after at month 4, actually you are submitting then the report in month 5. So you will be having 30 days to be providing the report for activities that happened in the first 4 months. And the same then for the first 8 months, you will be providing the report in month 9. But the final report, so after 10 months of implementation, then you will have 60 days to provide the final report of the project. So to emphasize that you need to be providing 2 documents. One is the Annex 3, which is the Word file, and then with the data on financings and milestones, KPIs, is reported in Annex 4, which is an Excel file that is being part of our open call. And when you will be attaching the supporting documents for eligible costs, this is of course needed for providing the final report when you will be submitting. The support for applicant is, of course, we have the frequently asked questions available. Then there is an open call help desk. And of course, today we are recording this webinar that will be made available, including with a session of questions and answers. So we reached the part of questions and answers. So maybe I will stop sharing the screen so that I will be also seeing you. And here are also my colleagues that will support in case that I will not have an answer for you. So you are welcome to raise your hand and pose a question, or you can also provide it in the chat. Doesn't seem there is. Yes, Vasilis. I'm sorry, I hope you don't mind. I use only the first name. So.
No, of course not. Thank you, Andrea. If I pronounce your name correctly.
Yes.
Thank you for this information. I would just like to check something. In the open call document, there is a chapter regarding the Pharaon pilots, the Andalusian pilot, the Italian pilots, and so on. Is there some way we should take into consideration these pilots, or as the objectives of the call suggest, we could run new pilots in new geographical areas? For example, we are located in Greece. Could the new pilot be happening in Greece, for example? Thank you.
Yeah. It would be very much welcome that the pilot is happening in Greece, because this is, of course, extending our reach.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Inaki?
Yes, thank you very much. And joining the question by Vasilis, I was wondering if on the other side of the spectrum, would it be welcome to coordinate with some of the existing pilots to do a new pilot, but in coordination with them? I'm thinking of the Spanish pilots, Andalusian or Murcian, for example.
Yeah, of course, it's possible. Here, maybe I can ask Raffaello to add to my my answer, because of course the pilots they need to be, of course, then participating. Rafael, sorry.
Hello, how are you? Thanks for your question. The main idea of the Open Call 2 is to have an independent pilots. So we are not really looking for integration with the existing pilots. So we really, this was the main goal of the first call. That was the main objective was to increase the reach from a technological perspective and for the features that were considered. So we were Open Call 1 goal was to enhance the pilots, but right now we are looking to on one hand use the technologies that we have developed, the interoperability approach that we have developed within Pharaon, but this is optional, as you can see. And we are trying to get an idea, I mean, to demonstrate, to increase the reach of the different pilots, what has been done with new technologies, new ideas, and completely new pilots. So we're not really looking for integration with the existing pilots.
Okay, I understand. And this, then as a follow-up, so not in the pilot, so in the realization of the actual studies, but integrating the technologies, which is part of the specific action 3, I guess. In addition to adding new technology, that would be welcome, I guess.
But the integration will be done with individual partners, not with a complete pilot. Yeah, we have designed Open Call 2 as an independent pilot. So
I
this is the
understand.
goal.
I understand. That was my understanding. Thank you very much, Rafael.
Okay, thank you, Iñaki.
Okay, Ernesto.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. It was really interesting and clarifying. Just one quick question about the budget. I mean, the template for budget, because it's very brief. I mean, it's just 1 row per participant. So I was wondering how much you want the budget to be detailed, or is this what is actually requested? Thank you.
Yeah, so of course, as emphasized, the Horizon rules needs to be followed, and of course, what we need to know is the personnel costs, then other direct costs of either the materials, potentially travels and so on, and then are of course also possible to have the subcontracting costs. And then with the Horizon rules, then it's also defined how much is the indirect costs, which you don't need to provide any explanations. Yeah.
Okay, so just to be clear, you only need the total amount of person months and the total direct costs. No details for that, right?
Yeah, so like if Horizon rules define, if you have other direct costs that are more than 15% of personnel costs, then you of course need to be providing explanations. In case that this is below 15%, then in the proposal you do not need to provide explanation why you need other direct costs.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Do we have other questions? Yeah, Vasilis?
Yes, if there are, I haven't actually looked very much into the technical documents about integration with the Pharaon platform. This will be done by our technical team. If there are questions, which is the best way to address any technical issues we might have before the proposal submission?
You should be proposing giving the question to towards the email, which we have the Pharaon Open Call Pharaon email.
Okay, okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we have a question that was posted. I see here. Is it possible to contemplate a consortium involving over 3 partners, such as 4? For instance, this could be applicable when seeking for the incorporate extra end-user organizations. So we are clearly defining that there is up to 3 partners in the projects. So in general, I have to say the answer is no. If you have additional partner and you are presenting it in the proposal, then of course would need to be really clearly justified, or having a partner that is not requesting a financing. And there is another question that I just now see. Will you organize a specific webinar for the technical description of Pharaon? No, this is not intended. So if you have questions, you can post them now. And here we have a team that is also able to provide you with the answers to the technical specifics. But in case you are not ready, as it was earlier also emphasized, you can also send a question to the email of Open Call Pharaon. Do we have any other specific questions? Yes, Thanos?
Yes, good morning from me as well. Thank you for the information. The question is regarding the deliverables beyond the actual documentation. So, for example, expanding the pilots, what would be the evidence that you'll be seeking to evaluate us on beyond the documents?
So do you mean in the frame of the proposals evaluations or implementation of the project?
Oh, sorry, the implementation. Sorry, let me clarify.
Yeah. So it's, of course, you will be describing and taking the responsibility what you are presenting to us was actually implemented. I would strongly recommend that you provide some photos in the reports, that are just like demonstrating that you were actually working with the users, and beyond the reports, we are not going to be requesting additional documentation. Maybe I can, maybe Rafael, would you add to this, because maybe I did not understand completely the question.
I'm not sure if I completely understood the question. You are talking about things beyond the deliverables. Could you please reformulate the question?
Correct. So essentially, for example, if there is a new pilot or expansion of pilot, I understand that beyond the document, you'll be looking, for example, for screenshots or videos of how the digital aspect of the pilot works to create the implementation at the end of the open call.
Well, we'll guide you through the implementation process. Usually, some of the partners will be, following the developments, not only the deliverables, and we will be guiding you and asking you for some proofs of what you have done. As Andrea said, things like photographs, pictures of the actual deployment will be useful. And also, if you go for a specification 3, which involves technical development, there will be a lot of collaboration with Pharaon partners, and we will be testing your technology. You will be asking for information from our side, and we will have to work together. So this would be a process of implementation of Open Call 2 projects.
Clear. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. And just for a follow-up, mostly focusing on the challenges and the pilots. I understand that there is a challenge number 5, which is kind of an overarching one, but there could be multiple challenges we can address. However, the piloting could be done either on an extending an existing pilot site or location.
No. I would like to emphasize that we are not looking to expand existing pilots. We are only looking to have new pilots. We are talking about expanding the capabilities of what has been done in the pilots. If you only read maybe the specific actions, it could be a little bit misleading because the term expansion is in relation not to the pilots that we are currently having in Pharaon, but also only to the capabilities. So we could try new technologies, we could try new concepts and ideas, and trying to maybe address new illnesses, new challenges in general. But the Pharaon challenges are the ones defined there, and this should be addressed within new pilots. So you would have new set of users, maybe a new user organization dealing with them, and then you will develop your own solution for the project that you defined. If you go for a specification 3, then you will have to integrate with some of the Pharaon technologies by using some of the Pharaon interoperability facilities that we will be providing.
Clear. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So I think that also Vanessa's questions were more or less answered, and because it's Then the question was given if we introduce supplementary pilot sites in our proposed consortium, is it necessary to conduct the pilots at both Pharaon partner sites in at least one and our newly suggested one? So it's not just in the newly suggested one. Then was Francesca posed a question that we have already 2 in Spain, the pilots, and if it's possible to do the 3rd one in Madrid. And yes, that's possible. We don't have a limitation on the countries and how many we want to be having in each country. And now I see the raised hand of Vasilis.
Yes, thank you. One more thing that I forgot to ask. If we already have a solution or more solutions that we can suggest for the new pilots in the new areas, geographical areas, could we include funding in our request for funding for further developing the solution we're going to test?
Maybe I didn't completely understand.
Okay, if we already have some digital solution that we're going to use in these use cases that we're going to suggest, could we include a plan of further developing our existing digital solution during these 10 months?
Yes, of course you can, but you need to also provide it as convincing that it can be done in 10 months and what is the intended development in order to address the 10 challenges that were actually implemented.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Then we have also another question that if can the proposed technology be a commercial product already available on the market? So it's, of course, we are in a high TRL levels, but you need to be presenting this technology to be used in order to address the specific challenges that Pharaon is actually emphasizing. And you need to be convincing that something that is on the market you will actually be developing. It's not just that you test it, but that you are integrating it into the Pharaon ecosystem. And Rafael might be further adding to my answer to this.
Yeah.
Sobre Vasilis.
Yeah.
Sorry, we were having some problems with the audio. Actually, I don't have anything to add to what you said, Andrea, so I think it's good. Thank you.
And I saw a raised hand from Francisco.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. This is Francisco Mulero speaking. I am the coordinator of the Murcia pilot site. I would like to highlight about what Vasilis asked about the possibility of including resources related to the delivery or of developing solutions during the project. The idea is that we have to consider that we are talking about an innovation action, which means that we have to start with solutions with a mature technology readiness level. So please consider that we should not, the idea is not to plan the delivery or the development of solutions from scratch, but adjustments or adaptations so as to make them available for the purpose of the pilot.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other question? Okay, then one thing that I believe might be also very useful for you when developing the proposals, I would like to stress that the costs that are eligible need to occur during that 10 months of implementation of the project. So you need to be actually having the cost that is then after 1st of November that occurred, not before. So make sure to have this in mind, so that you will have to be also providing, of course, the evidence of the expenditures, and it's a clearly defined rule of Horizon financing. So anything additionally? If not, I would ask you to be very carefully reviewing all the documents that are part of an open call. So not just the open call text, but also the grant agreement that is going to be then signed, of course, with adding the data of the selected projects, and the reportings, so that you will be knowing already at the time of applying for a project what all will be requested. As emphasized at the beginning, it's going to be turned very fast from the submission to the actually selection and then the signing of a grant agreement. And then, of course, 10 months will have to be very active. And one thing to emphasize that there will be no options for prolonging the projects due to the restrictions that we have on the Pharaon project level, that the project needs to be completed on a certain date, and of course until that date we need to also successfully conclude the sub projects that we are going to be financing. And in case that we have also in the call very clearly stated that Pharaon is being in the process of signing the grant agreement with the amendment to the grant agreement with the European Commission, and everything should be proceed as planned. But there is a potential chance that European Commission would require from us some changes, and in that case then we might be also it might be also impacting this open call. I just direct you to that open call text so that you read it, that it won't be then a surprise. However, we are not expecting that this would happen, but still I think it's fair that I say it out loud. If nothing else, I would like to thank you. I'm very pleased there is so many interested participants, and so which means that on the 30th of September we will have the pleasure to read many very good proposals, and you might reach us through the open call Pharaon email that is published on the webpage. We will assure to provide the answer to the one posting the question, as well as to be transparent and publish these answers also on the webpage so that everyone will have the same information. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
so
Bye.
much.